On June 7th, 2025, Konami made the following updates to how Ultimate Time Wizard, aka the official way to play older formats at major events, will be played. And it goes as follows. Why am I doing this? You all know. Everyone knows. Frickin' mainstream YouTube knows. The frickin' homeless guy by the grocery store knows. Go talk to him. He'll probably give you some meth. But yeah, this is absolutely insane. Like, it's mind-boggling. I have never seen a company spend like 4 years, close to 4 years, building up something people were liking and was clearly making them money and was popular, and then throwing it down the toilet like this with one social media post. And they didn't even include someone's penis. God! Alright, I should probably compose myself and get everyone up to speed here, because I know I'm more on the anime side of things. Some of you may not actually really know the full story of what's going on here. Basically, Konami has changed the way older formats will be played officially. And for those of you who don't know, older formats, especially post-COVID, really started to get popular, I think because modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a unlovable hellscape nightmare world. And I think, like, people who love Yu-Gi-Oh! But can't stand modern, I think really wanted to go back to the Yu-Gi-Oh! They loved, and because of just the way the world was, it seemed more and more favorable to go in that direction. That's right, I said it. The rise of Edison format is due to the pandemic. But yeah, no, so people were going out, they were buying their older cards, they were hosting entire locals just based around older formats, in particular, April 2010, aka Edison format. So therefore, Konami, and rightfully so, decided to capitalize on this. They started reprinting older cards more. The 25th anniversary definitely felt like started going in the direction of trying to give us as many past format reprints as possible, for better or for worse. But it was definitely working, and it was making older formats seeming more attractive, which was perfect because now at regionals and YCSs, Konami was doing Ultimate Time Wizard. Basically, if you could get enough people who wanted to play any older format and had decks for it, if you could get them together, you could host an official side event for it. This was great. This ability to listen and work with the community for something they genuinely wanted is something we've been begging out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever. Something Konami refuses to do, and that is get to the player's level and genuinely deliver on what they wanted. The system wasn't perfect, of course not, but it was getting there. It was growing. It was getting better. You literally were having mini Edison YCSs in actual YCSs. God, it was going so well, and then they do this. To sum it up, the rule change basically states that going forward, Ultimate Time Wizard will be conducted with all modern day rules. So things like not drawing on the first turn, no priority in, like, say, Edison, and similar things of that nature. All rulings will be the same as they are in modern. This particular falls to say something like, and again, this is relevant to me as a hero guy, Absolute Zero, whose how its effect can actually resolve has changed a little bit as the eras have gone by. And finally, and the worst of all of this, all cards will follow their modern text, meaning Yugioh Guardian, a card that was insanely popular for its genericness, is no longer generic. You need an Earth tuner. Sangan searches you a card that is now not usable on the turn it is searched. Dark Magician of Chaos adds a spell on the end phase instead of on summoned. For those of you who don't know, we got the errata when Enlightenment Paladin came out. A card that literally power crept Dark Magician of Chaos. This is such a bad fucking idea. And it just came out of nowhere. It was just literally on, like, Twitter at, like, 10 o'clock at night or something. And that's when I saw it. But this is just crazy. Like, they've just destroyed everything. The secondary market for vintage cards has completely collapsed. The value of the reprints in things like Bonanza and Stampede have also been majorly affected. Konami has completely unwittingly just destroyed all goodwill they've earned over the past several years. Many people who praised Konami for embracing older formats and felt this was going in the right direction have since completely sworn off where things are going. This is a fucking PR nightmare, and Konami is doing nothing to get ahead of it, despite the fact it's already been about 4 days, which is an eternity on the internet. So, we should probably talk about some theories as to why they did this, because there is no concrete answer. And while I will say what I think the logical options are, I do not think any of these are good enough reasons. First and foremost, and I will say this one is probably the most understandable, is that by having everything follow one rule set and one just like general idea, it makes it a lot easier on judges. Now, at my Edison local, it happens a lot, trying to figure out how certain cards interact with priority, trying to understand how certain rulings function in this, even just going back to turns for handling end-of-match procedures. We all hate the current time rules. I was reminded how much I fucking hate waiting 30 minutes because two guys are staring at the same two cards for 3 turns. Yeah, like, I understand that. My counterpoint to that would be, with how popular this has become, I think simply having designated judges who simply handle these types of things is the better solution than forcing everything to work under the modern version of cards. Older people who have gone back into the game might not be aware of how a lot of these things work. They might not be aware of current erratas, and forcing them to change things like this for really just the benefit of a few judges who could probably just serve with better training, I think really doesn't make a lot of sense. The next reason I am seeing a lot of online is they want to start doing stuff with older formats on Master Duel and Duel Links, which I think that makes a lot of sense, especially for Duel Links, because with Yu-Gi-Oh! Series 9 nowhere in sight, they need to come up with shit to do for that game, and I could see something like this being an option. To which case, I would say it may be a little more effort, but taking the time to program this shit in, I think will have so many more benefits in the long run, especially for people who just are Master Duel onlys and getting them to learn about past formats, again, to buy product later. The final, and this is what I think is most likely really what's going on here, is Konami put a lot of marketing effort into reprinting a lot of the Edison staples and Tengu Plant and Toss format cards and Hat and all that into the rarity sets. I would argue the entire 25th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically turned into just trying to get as many people access to cards they would want for past formats as possible. And reprinting Petite Moth, because fuck you, Ruxin. But yeah, that I think is what's most likely here. This is to get you to buy new versions of cards, because a lot of people don't want those versions of the cards. They want their Sangan to be an older one that has that older text. Well, now, if you're going to make everyone use the modern text, it's just more practical to have the modern versions of cards, and will force people to track them down. And that brings me to the ultimate big problem here. It shows that Konami has not learned their lesson. It shows that Konami is still working under the mentality that there is a secret magic formula they can figure out to make you just be a sheep who will endlessly buy everything all the time. They will constantly put out new versions of cards, and if you do not like it, well, too bad, we will twist your arm and make you use the version, or else you will be the one in the wrong at a major tournament. It is why sets do things like the new Battles of Legend, where the only real important reprints are the Primite cards, and a lot of it is just kind of crap. Konami is obsessed with the idea that they can outsmart you and just make you endlessly buy. So if you don't want to support that, if you don't want this practice to follow, you've got to be the one to stand up. It does have to be, don't buy the new product. It has to be, don't support Ultimate Time Wizard if this is how things are going. People are already talking about setting up their own like third-party Edison events and Tengu and all this stuff. The ability to fight back is here. And if it's that important to you, you have to take the initiative and fight back against it. The only way to make a company change their minds is to hurt their wallets. And if we want to hurt Konami's wallet, this is how we do it. Give me your thoughts about this whole crazy situation in the comment section below. How does this affect you or your locals? My locals basically decided we're not fucking following this shit. I know someone could like report back to Konami about this, but we're all old men. We don't care. Give me all that in the comment section below. And as always, click to like, click subscribe, and join me to see where this all goes.